Welcome to OSINTERSECT, and this is the first of many videos that I'm going to be doing, and I'm quite excited. It's been a very long time since I've gotten to go on camera and speak to you about an area that I absolutely love, and that is open source intelligence. So I'm going to start by introducing OSINTERSECT. What is it? So we're a private company providing open source intelligence training to various government and intergovernmental organizations, as well as some other organizations as well. So since this is the first of many videos, and I'm very excited about this, I thought that there's no better opportunity than to introduce a tool that I have developed. And again, since these videos are going to be focusing on tools and techniques that work, tools and techniques that are currently being used out on the field, I felt that given what we're seeing in the context of Russia and Ukraine, that I should introduce a tool that I've been developing for over a month now, and I think it's going to be really useful, especially if you have a focus on Russian social media. And the tool that has been developed is vkXtract. So for anyone who's not familiar with VK, it is a Russian social media site. Think of it in a way as Russia's equivalent to Facebook. Now, unlike Facebook, which locked down quite a lot of their API access quite some time ago, vContact, on the other hand, is relatively still quite open. When you have an API key, it is possible for you to extract quite a lot of data using that. And I'm not talking about private data, only what is publicly visible. So if you create a vContact profile, whatever is publicly facing can be obtained through the VK API. And that is crucial in the context of using this tool, vkXtract. Now, one of the big constraints when we're looking at VK API is that to get that data, which is usually in the form of structured JSON, and again, if you are doing, very broad brush investigations looking at groups of people, then you're going to find yourself with a very large set of JSON files that you're going to have to find a way to look at. But it's not just structured JSON either. We're talking about images and videos, attachments. So the type of data that can be obtained from vContact is quite large and quite broad indeed. Now, just because we're looking at vContact and just because I've mentioned that it is a Russian social media site does not mean that if you're not involved in any Russia or Eastern European focused investigations, it does not mean that you should switch off and stop looking at this video. No. And that is because there has been quite an increase in the number of non-Russian, non-Eastern European users subscribing to vContact. And it is, if you do a very thorough search, you're going to find lots of, dare I say, some really nasty stuff on there as well, to say the least. So it is certainly a social media platform that you want to pay very close attention to. So as I mentioned, there are problems when it comes to the type of data that we can get from vContact, namely that it's going to be very structured JSON datasets. It's going to be quite a lot of it, lots of images. But also as well, most of the tools and techniques to get that data, you have to rely on command line tools. And not everyone has the time to learn command line. That's just the fact of life. Not everyone has the time or even the willingness to even do it. There's nothing wrong in that. And I'm not criticizing for 1 second. Not to mention as well, when I've spoken to many police investigators, they do say to me, we can't use command line on some of our systems because it's not allowed as per IT security policies. That's fine. I completely understand that. So what I have done is I've created a tool that in effect will get that data using a Chrome extension. But also as well, as you're about to see, it's going to give you that opportunity to really dig deep in that data. Try and make sense of it, because remember, the intelligence is the so what. You've got a lot of data, great. So what? What is it that you need to find in that data? And how are you going to find it? That's the key. So turning to vkExtract, and this is the GitHub repo. So if you're unfamiliar in terms of how to get your hands on this Chrome extension, just follow the instructions in the repo itself. Now for this, we haven't published the extension on the Chrome store, so you are going to have to use the developer mode inside of your extensions interface. So where you have Chrome, you have manage extensions, and you'll notice off to the top right hand side we have developer mode. So you need to enable that to then click on load unpack, and that is where you essentially point towards the vkExtract folder, and then it loads it up. So once you've got it on there, what next? What now? And this is the key thing. So let's say we're taking a profile. So this is your typical vContact profile. So it could be a user, it could be a group. It doesn't really matter. The extension is going to extract the data anyway, and it's going to present it in a very nice format for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the extension icon once it has been loaded up. And this is it. And this is where you need to provide your VK API key. And if you don't have one, take a look at the GitHub repo, and we've got the instructions there. But obviously, first and foremost, you need to get yourself a vContact account. And then it's relatively quite easy to get your hands on an API key from there. Once you've gotten a hold of that API key, you just paste it into the tool, save it, and then it's stored. We're going to reload that tab, and now we're going to start extracting. So we want to get profile data. Great. Very nice and straightforward. Extracted. If that was a group, then we're going to get that as well. The group profile data, for want of a better word. Friends. Who's this person friends with? Or who are the members of that particular group? We're going to extract that as well. Same as followers. People following. And then what groups that user is a member of. We get that right there. And then we take a closer look at the actual media. Now what we're doing here is we're extracting the photo data, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we are extracting the images per se. What we're simply getting is the structured data which comes with the image, such as when was the photo uploaded, what is the file name, and also as well, if that photo has been tagged into a particular location, we're going to get that data as well. I'm going to extract the same for videos. And if there are stories, we're going to get that. And if there are gifts, we will get that. Although in this case, as you see, access denied. And what that is telling us is that, well, this particular user has not made their gifts, sort of little stickers that they've received from other users, they've not made that publicly available. But that's okay. We can move on. And this can be a little bit of a time-consuming process right here, but we're talking about the wall. So what has the user posted? What pictures have they posted? Who's commented? Who's liked? Etc, etc. So we can specify, right, we want to extract 100 posts, the first 100 posts from that user's wall, or if we are only interested in a very specific date-time range, then we can just select that like so. But either way, we're just going to go ahead and extract the first 100 posts. And that's going to work its way through. It's going to get the actual posts in terms of the images and the text data. Also, if there's any tagged locations, it's going to get that. And then it's going to cycle through, and it's going to identify who liked the post, who reacted, and in what way, and then who commented. What were the comment replies, who reacted to the comments and the replies, and so on. So we've got all of that data now ready to go. If you just want the raw raw structured JSON, go ahead, you click on it and you'll get the raw JSON files. But again, remember, open source intelligence, OSINT, the so what? You've now got a lot of data, so what? What is it that you need to find within that data? That's the crucial part. So, taking this up a level now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the extracted data and look at what we can find in it, what conclusions we can draw. That's the key. And to do that, we click on Open Reports, and that loads it up. So this is it. This, I would say, is the bread and butter that exists inside of vkXtract. So we get an overview of the user. We get a very nice breakdown right there. But what I'm quite proud of is this. It's a family tree. Now, if you register onto vContact, or even Facebook for that matter, you might tag your sister as your sister, your mother as your mother, and so on. And that data, if it's publicly available, in this case, vkXtract is going to get that and it's going to present it in a family tree, as we're seeing right here. So we're getting an idea of the name of this user's child, the name of this user's mother, and the names of his siblings. So again, when we hover over, we get an idea of who is who in the family. But you'll notice we have this button, Enrich Family. Now, when you press that, what that is actually going to do is it's going to look up every single one of those individuals or those users in that family tree, and it's going to find who their relatives are. And this could be quite useful because this could connect some dots depending on the data set and what is publicly available, of course. So when we click on Enrich Family, we identify another individual, possibly another sibling, like so. So that's something that I'm quite proud of in terms of what it can do. And as you see here as well, we get a map. And what that is doing is that it's taking the text-based location names, which comes with essentially the data that you pull from vContact users. So what their hometown is, what city they were born in, it's taking all of that. And then what it's doing is it's trying to match that text-based location to a particular point on the map, onto an OpenStreetMap, as you can see right here. And, you know, very nice and straightforward. You can use that map to filter down on any particular users. And so it's quite powerful. It's quite powerful. But as we go up, we get some other things as well, which can be interesting. Friends list. So as you see here, you know, working off the same principle, we're matching place names to points on a map. And what we can do is we can filter down on those. So if we are interested in users within the Moscow area, this is what we get. And again, if we find that there is a particular user in the friends list that is interesting to us, what we're going to do is click on Enrich, and that is going to query via the VK API and pull whatever data that it can get. And we can take a look at the details right there. So we get an idea of any social media details, contacts, education and work, relationship and family, etc. So again, all of this data is what is publicly viewable. That's the key thing. And then we take a look at observed. This is what is the analytical view for the posts that we extracted. So where we extracted posts, we also got reactions, we got comments, replies, and what we're doing is we're bringing that together and putting it into a view which hopefully makes sense. So here we have a link chart which is based on those posts. So who has liked or commented on whichever post, and we can take a look at any particular post right here and get an idea of who reacted to it and who liked it and so on. So with this as well, you can increase the number of posts that you want putting onto the map itself. And again, to remove any background noise, for want of a better word, what we're going to do is select on repeat actors only, click on apply, and as you see, we get a very nice link-based view on individuals who have reacted to multiple posts. So this can be quite useful, to say the least. And if I scroll down as well, what we're seeing here is, right, we're seeing the users that have liked or commented on that target user's wall posts, and it indicates whether they are a friend or not. So if we find one user with, a very large amount of reactions and comments to a particular post, and we want to find more information on that individual, we can click on enrich, and there we get the thumbnail and any additional information. Like so. So the wall, again, we've made this so that it's more accessible. So where you extract the user's wall, you can search across it, text-based filtering, dates-based filtering, but also as well, if any posts have been tagged, or if there are location-based tags related to those posts, then you would be able to use a map and filter down on those posts. So again, here we're just trying to make it more accessible, and again, we're thinking about the so what. That's the key thing, the so what. So followers, very self-explanatory. Same with communities in terms of what groups that individual is a member of. And then we get into photos. So these are the publicly available photos relating to that individual. So what that means is that if we are quite interested in this photo right here, what we can do is, okay, we can enrich it. So what that means is when we enrich it, we get an idea of who's reacted to that picture, who's commented on it, who's liked it, but also as well, we get that into a link chart right there. And if we want to enrich all of the photos, then of course we can do that. We can click to enrich all of them. Now, what we are also doing with vkXtract is that we have a back off, because the last thing that we want is for you or your API tokens to get banned, basically, because of too much activity, because there are limitations here in terms of quotas, etc. So there are limitations. So what we have is a back off. So we will do requests in batches. Now, the downside is that it will inevitably take a little bit longer, for you to get, to enrich a full data set. But at the very least, it is very nice and safe, and it avoids rate limits and, potential bans and what have you. So again, you get that data presented inside of a link chart, and now it's about the so what. What is it that you want to find? What is the significance of what's going on here? And of course, we can do the same with videos as well. Now everything is, you get the raw JSON right here. So again, if you that's all you're interested in, of course you can just download that. You can save it as JSON files in their own right. If you look off to the left hand side here, you see we are generating node and edge lists. So if you want to put a friend list into a chart viewer and look at who is connected to who, then absolutely you can do that. And we've also made it compatible as well in terms of exporting out, so you can put it into Gephi. So again, just trying to make it a little bit easier. But one of the things that I think is which is quite good, is the ability to export the case package. So if I click on export here, I can select to download all photos, and that's going to create local copies of every photo in every single album. That will take longer, but it will do it. We haven't got video download capability just yet, so I'm trying to look at some alternatives for a nice stable way to do batch downloading of videos. But this as a proof of concept, it's potentially something that can be that can be built up, and I am looking at ways to integrate it in terms of doing Telegram API calls, looking as well potentially as well, auditing of the extracted data, things like that. So there are some considerations. So what we can do is we can package it all up into a zip, export it out, and that means that same report with the link charts, with the maps, with the user cards, with the images, that's all going to be contained within a zip folder. So then all you need to do is unzip it over on your side in your downloads area, take a look at the reports in your browser, and that's it. You've now got a local copy of that user report, or group report if you're dealing with a vContact group. So that is vkXtract, and I'm quite excited about that, or about this I should say, because, well, this is the first OSINTERSECT video, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to introduce something that I've been working on for a month now. So, you know, some really good development work has gone into this. Naturally, it may not be 100%. Again, I'd appreciate if you want to give it a try. Let me know how you get on. If there's something that you think can be improved, let me know. But also as well, if you want to collaborate, let me know as well, and we can do that. So this has been good, and I'm quite excited that I've gotten to speak to everyone again for the first time in a long time. And as I said, we're going to focus on what works, what tools, what techniques, what workflows, because it's all well and good that you might have a command line tool which extracts certain data. The trick is, what do you do with it? So thank you for watching, and see you again soon.
Preview.